Alright, so here's our next lesson. The learning target is we can decompose irregular polygons to calculate the area and perimeter of given shapes. So your do now is right here. Use this as a review of what we've been doing. So you are being asked to identify the area and perimeter of these two given polygons. If you want, take a second to pause it, or if you have the slides, just look at the slides. So here's the work from the do now. Number one, we should have realized that it was a square, and in order to find the area for square, we just find our formula. We look back, it's side squared. We were given this one side of 8 inches. We substitute, so 8 squared gives us 64 inches squared. But we also had to find perimeter. So we should know that for a square, all sides are equal. So for the other 3, they should have also been 8 inches. So we could have added 8 4 times, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Or we could have did 8 times 4. Either way, we should have gotten 32 inches. Perimeter, we're not squaring, only the area. Number 2, we should have identified that it's a parallelogram. For that, our formula was base times height. Again, we substitute. We have the base here for 4. Height was 7. When we substitute, 4 times 7 gives us the 28 centimeters squared. But we also had to solve for perimeter as well. If this is opposites, which it is, this length is 4. Same with here. 5 centimeters here, its opposite will also be 5. We add them all up, 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 gives us 8 plus 10 for a total of 18 centimeters for our perimeter.
Really quick, I have an image of many different polygons. But my question to you is, what similarities and differences do you see? So for the first one that we have here is a triangle, the regular polygon versus the irregular polygon. You should, just by looking at it, be able to see some differences or similarities. So first of all, they're both triangles. They both have 3 sides, hence triangle. The difference would be, notice how the regular polygon has equal sides. The irregular polygon does not have equal sides. And if I go to the quadrilateral, same thing here. We have a square, all equal sides. But then look at this quadrilateral. The sides are different. Not only are the lengths different, but then all of the angles are also different. Same with the pentagon. All sides are equal. This side is much longer than this side. So this is just some irregular versus regular polygons. So if we go over the definitions, it's clear as day. So the polygon, a regular polygon, is a polygon with equal sides and equal lengths. An irregular polygon, because now that's what we're working with right now, irregular ones, is a polygon with unequal sides or unequal angles. So this is our first irregular polygon. Once again, irregular polygons have different lengths, okay? Not all equal lengths. But I want to find the area and perimeter of this polygon, but first let's work on area. So if I have to find the area of this polygon and it's not a regular one, I need to break it apart. I need to do something called decompose it. So if I were to decompose it, I could break it into smaller shapes such as maybe squares and rectangles. So if I'm looking here, I could break it into 2 different parts. I'll break it here, make this one long rectangle. Does everyone see how I broke that into a rectangle? Okay? I want to make some questions. And then I'm going to break this one into another rectangle. Because we do know the formulas for area of a rectangle. We want to use the formulas that we know. So if I'm looking, let's look at the red first. I see that I have a measurement for my whole side, which is 12 here. And I see I have a whole measurement for my 10 here. So I could easily just do 12 times 10. And 12 times 10 is 120 inches, right? Would be squared. Now I have to look at my blue. My blue is a little tricky because I do have one side here, but I don't have a measurement here, but this whole part is 15. So I wonder how I can find the missing measurement of here and here using what's given. So if I know that this whole part is 15, and the opposite is given, which is 10, 10 plus what gives me my remaining part here? So that must be 10 plus an additional 5. So 10 plus 5 together is 15, which is the same as this side, which is 15. So now I can multiply using my area formula of a rectangle. 5 times 8, which is 40 inches squared. Now I have the area of this part, I have the area of this part, but I need the area of the whole thing together. So I think you can figure out what we have to do next, but in case you can't, I have to take the area of one part and the area of another and add them together. And the area of this irregular polygon is at 160 inches squared. And that is my area. Not done. Now I need the perimeter. So let's see if I have my perimeter. We know perimeter is adding all sides. I have this side filled in. I have this side filled in. I don't have this side filled in. So we're going back to the same problem. I'm missing sides. So I know up and down has a missing side. Let's look at my up and downs of what I do have. So I have a full 12 here, and then I have part of an 8. How can I get from 8 to 12? Okay, I can do 8 plus 4. So it could be 8 and then 4, which gives me 12. Okay, so I have a hole here, I have a measurement here, here, here. I think all my measurements are good. Okay, now I'm going to add them together. I have 12. I'm going to check off what I've done before because it could be a little confusing. Plus 10, plus 4, plus 5, plus 8, plus 15. Am I good? I think I'm good. All right, I may need some more room. So 12 plus 10 would give me 22. 4 and 5 is 9. 8 and 15. What's 8 and 15? 23? I think I'm right. Hi guys. Miss Gilberto's having a brain fart. 23. Okay. It's lifetime. Okay. Now I have, let's do 22 plus 23. That's easier for me off the top of my head. That's 45. And then bring down my 9. 45 plus 9 should be 54. Now it's not just 54, we're solving for perimeter. It's 54 inches. Wow, a lot of work. But I think you guys can do this.
So you may have noticed that there was another way that we could have solved for the area of this irregular polygon. Miss Gilberto decomposed it vertically. However, right here, I decomposed it horizontally. So I split this shape up right here, leaving me one rectangle up top and the other rectangle on the bottom. So right away, using the rectangle on the bottom, I have my length and my width. So if I were to substitute using my formula for area, I have 15 times 8. That gives me 120 inches squared. So that's one rectangle done. That only leaves me with the one up top. I already have one part. I know I'm going to use 10. However, I'm missing this side length now. However, I do know this whole side here is 12. So I need to just add more to this 8 to get me to that complete 12. So 8 plus what gives me 12? I'll figure that out. That should be 4. So if I add this over here, I know that in total, this gives me that 12, so it's equal to this. So now that I have my 10 here, my 4 here, I substitute one more time. 10 times 4 gives me 40 inches squared. Last thing I need to do now is just add them up. And I should get the same thing as Miss Gilberto. So 120 plus 40, I get 160 inches squared since we're finding area. If I look back, Miss Gilberto also got 160. So that shows you that, yet again, there's more than one way we can solve. All right, everyone, using what Miss Gilberto and I just showed you, the next 2 slides identify the area and perimeter for both. Don't forget, there's more than one way we can do it. So if you feel confident, try solving it more than one way. But for both, we're looking for area and perimeter.
Okay, so now that you had a chance to do this on your own, here is what one way could look like. So I broke down my irregular polygon into a little square here and a long rectangle. Keep in mind that it's not exactly scaled right, not perfect. So anyway, I noticed that if this is 3 and this is 3, that we have a square going on. So this side must be 3 and that side must be 3. Also, we have here, this hole is 9 and this part is 2. If this is 2, then the opposite must be 2. But if this is 9, this is 3, the bottom here must be 3. And then I have 6 more, so which is 3 and 3. Okay, so now I needed to find the area of each part. I use my square formula, which is s squared. 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then I did for my rectangle, 9 times 2, which is 18. I got the area of each part, but I need it together. So I did 18 plus 9, which is 27 inches squared. I also have to do the perimeter. I know it's a lot of work. I added up all my sides. I started from here, and I worked my way all the way around. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. 2 plus 3 plus 3 is 8. I broke it down even further. 9 plus 11 is 20. Brought my 8 down. 28 inches.
So this was the second question that you were asked to find perimeter and area for. So here we have our irregular polygon. This is easier to see because we can see that we're missing one side here, a second, and a third side length. So using this, I'll show you the work that I did. They're going to look like a lot. So what I did, I broke it up into 3 separate rectangles. So I had my main one, or my bigger one here, and then the 2 other ones up here. The big clue was that this whole side length was 14. I already had a 5, I had a 3, and I had a 2. If I add that up, 5 and 3 is 8, plus 2 is 10. The only thing I need to make that 14 is a 4. The other big clue was this 13. So this side length was 13. Along the other side, I had a 6. So the 6 plus that missing 7 then gave me that whole length of 13. Noticing that that 7, the opposite, is also going to be 7. And same with this one. Since this side length is 6, that 7, when added together, will give us the 13. So now that I have all my missing side lengths, I just substituted my length times width, since we're working with 3 rectangles. 6 times 14, that gave me 84 meters squared. Up here, 4 times 7, 28. Here, 2 times 7, 14. And then I added them all together. 28 plus 14 plus 84 gave me 126 meters squared. Don't forget, that's only one way you could have solved it. You could have decomposed it another way. That's just the way that I happen to do it. And then I found perimeter. So I did this intentionally to show you that depending on our irregular polygon, we can have a lot of side lengths. So I listed them all out. But you saw Ms. Gilberto do it. I did it here as well. You can work with the numbers to make it easier depending on how you like to do it. So what I did, I first meshed up my 7s. I did 7 times 3. That gave me that 21. From there, I did 21 plus 14, 13 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6, and I just kept going. I combined the 14 and 13 for a 27. 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16. 21 plus 27 plus 16 gave me a perimeter of 64. So don't get intimidated by a lot of numbers. Use the smaller numbers, make them into bigger numbers, less numbers, easier it is to solve. That was lesson 4. That was our focus on irregular polygons, finding the area and perimeter. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach both Ms. Gilberto and I on Google Classroom and Pupil Path. Maybe you saw a mistake. Gotta let us know.